Welcome to our What's New in Digital Diamond Baseball video. We have a lot of new features to show you for version 3, which will be released on Sunday, February 3rd. We couldn't get all the suggestions we got. We got a lot of feedback from users. We couldn't get them all into this release, but we got quite a few of them. If your suggestion didn't make it, that doesn't mean it won't make it. It's just that we couldn't squeeze it in for this release. We will be making several minor revisions throughout the year, and we will be adding more of those features then, so hang on tight. I'm going to show you quickly one of my favorite features, which is the opening day rosters feature. Allows you to enter opening day rosters for all the teams or import them. Also, accompanying that are your transactions. Once you have your opening day rosters, you can have a list of transactions that will be executed while you play games or fast play games if you choose so. And these can be entered by hand or imported as well. There's a video online that has a detailed explanation of how these new features work. So I'll stop there and let you explore that other video. We also have a new reporting engine. Now it gets its own tab, the reporting tab. And you can see there's a whole bunch of reports here, and we're going to be adding more as time goes on. The neat thing about this new engine is you can filter up here. You can also, for some of these reports, actually define what columns you want to see and the order you want to see them in. And you can even change what it's sorting by on the fly very quickly and easily. A couple new reports I want to show you quickly. There's a batting comparison report, which shows real-life statistics versus simulated statistics, and special events and transaction reports, which are really helpful. And we've also upgraded our team roster, team profile reports, and a team schedule report, which is like our old game log, but includes the scheduled games that haven't been played yet as well. And others that you should check out. We've got quite a few here. Oh, I should mention there's the career leaders, and that brings me to my next new feature. Digital Diamond Baseball now tracks career statistics as well as seasons. So at the end of each season, the season statistics are added to the career statistics. So if you play many seasons one after another, you can keep track of the career stats for those players. Now that we have career stats, we thought it might be a good time to think about adding fictional libraries. There's a whole video on fictional libraries that you can watch, but basically you can add players to a library that are generated at random fictionally based on some time in baseball. You can then execute a season with those players, keep track of their career stats, and over time, as they get older, their performance changes and they may retire. When they're retired, you can choose to have them automatically replaced. Here are the stats or the options around that. There's a peak performance age, earliest retirement age, chance of retiring, auto-retiring, auto-replacing, how the stats affect it when they get old, and whether you want the stats to be affected when they get old. So this basically allows you to play an entirely fictional library over many careers, following your players as they grow old, retire, and youngsters join the league. Again, there's a video on that explains a lot more about how that works. We've added a new player pop-up. Now you have to double-click to get it to show up rather than hover. But once it's up, if you browse through players, they'll show up in the player pop-up. This is a lot less intrusive than the hover over version that we used to have. And you can actually switch between views and it will still stay up if you switch between tabs. So this is a handy new player pop-up. We also have a new menu for all of our stats tabs. It's the same on every one, and some options are available and some aren't. Of note, we have a retire and unretire button for our career fictional libraries. Another interesting thing here that you'll notice, we've added an age field. It's not populated in this particular library because it's an older library, but for newly imported libraries, you can now import the actual age of the players. In addition, I forgot to mention, we have a new player editor. You highlight a player and click on Edit. You can edit that player's statistics, and you can even test out their player picture. So if you change the name, for example, and reload, it won't find that player picture. So you can experiment when you're trying to get your player photos to load properly. This player editor is great for adding a couple players, but still the best way to get players in Digital Diamond Baseball is to import them with a large import file. But this is great to add a player or two or to tweak a name or a statistic. Another thing we added quickly was to the filter. You can now view inactive or retired players from any of the screens, or you can hide them from those screens. By default, the Browse Real Life doesn't show inactive or retired. Browse Season only shows inactive in gray, and Career Stats shows inactive and retired. Retired players will show up in green if there are any in your library. Another thing we did was add a players menu item that allows you to do a bunch of global player editing, for example, deactivating and activating all players, resetting rosters opening day, and so on. Some more additions in the scheduling pane. You can now double-click on a game to view the box score. In addition, we have added day-nights to the scheduling import, and we've changed the import format for As Playeds. In As Playeds, we're now using the retrosheet.org game log format, which is up to date up till 2012, instead of Mark Miller's Goodies import format. So for As Playeds, you want to use the game logs. They're available for free by Retrosheet, so they've been included in version 3. So they're actually in your schedule folder, and you can import them right away if you want. You could also, as I said, import day and night in your imports now, which is great. And finally, we added an ability to set the number of innings that a game should have. And this is almost always going to be 9, but in some of the older seasons and in minor leagues, you want to have maybe a 7-inning game or something. The game now supports that by editing that field. Also, when you fast play now, you can choose to only save box scores and play-by-play on special events. So by checking this button, the fast play will only save a box score or a play-by-play if a special event happened in that game. Okay, a couple comments on options. Almost all the options except for general other are now stored within the library rather than globally. So you can change them in just one library and they'll stick. They won't affect the other libraries. Okay, another feature we added to the options was to league averages. We added the ability now to create a new league average file. And then you can actually generate the values for that league average file based on the library that's currently open. So you can see here all these numbers have been populated based on my current library. This is great if you like to create minor league libraries or other custom libraries. You build the whole library, you populate it, everything's ready to go, and then you can generate the league average file based on your library's league averages. Okay, I'm currently now in the play game screen, and there's a couple things to talk about here. First, you can still access the player pop-up in here by double-clicking, but once it's up, you can leave it up and click on players to view your different players. Next thing to talk about is that we've now added sound. I'm not going to demo it for you now, but essentially when you're playing the game, if you have sound enabled, you'll hear the ball hitting the bat, you'll hear some organ music, some crowd reactions, and so on. It's actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And if you click on options, you can always disable that with this option. Another thing we've added is pickoff plays. So if your runner tries to steal second and they did not get a good lead, there is a small chance that the other team will pick your player off. We also added the ability to tag up from second base to third base. This happens if the ball is hit hard to right field. It doesn't happen often, but it is possible to tag up from second to third. Another neat thing we've added is bench and bullpen tabs to the lineup screen here, so you can now take a quick peek at your bench and your bullpen during a game without having to go to the matchups pane. The matchup panes is still the best way to make a managerial decision, but these new tabs will help a lot. Okay, last but not least, we have changed the way our help system works now. No longer get an in-game help system. Instead, we've replaced that with a PDF version of a user manual. There are a lot of reasons for doing this. Here's the user manual, all 58 pages of goodness and growing. The reason we did this was, for one, you can now free text search this thing. So if you're looking for a particular feature, you can search for it and it will bring you to that location. In addition, it's portable and you can print it. So you can have a printed version with you at all times if you want. And finally, it's easier for us to maintain and publish, so it'll be a lot easier for us to keep this manual up to date, clean, and helpful. So I think you'll like this. It'll also be posted on our website, so you can always get the latest version at any time. So that's a bit, we're out of time here on this video. There are other things that we've added that I did not mention. You should check out the other videos, check out the user manual, and I hope you enjoy version 3. Keep the feedback coming. Thanks.